It's annoying, but it's a bot, and it cannot go on any longer. Hang it up, flat screen. I would have dragged you regardless. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the VMAs and why the VMAs are no longer good. Now, if you watched my video, maybe the music industry sucks or something, one of my videos last month, I was discussing how the VMAs used to be a moment for me. Now, I was born in that middle, in millennial, early Gen Z, right in that middle. So I remember good VMAs. My first recollection of the VMAs is 100% the Britney and Christina Aguilera and Madonna kiss. I remember that. But so growing up in the 2000s, I watched the VMAs. I saw good VMAs, and I would say the VMAs was good up until the early 2010s. Probably the Miley We Can't Stop, Robin Thicke, that was probably the last OMG VMAs, and then it's kind of been downhill ever since. You could say probably after 2009 it's all been downhill, but I would say I enjoyed that VMAs. That VMAs did what it was trying to do. The VMAs have never been a place of hoity-toity, sophisticated type of girls. You save that for the Grammys. The VMAs was supposed to be for mess, and the VMAs brought out the mess. You were supposed to come dressed in your craziest garments. You were supposed to come to make a statement. VMAs was supposed to be music's craziest night. Everyone come together. And the thing is, it is just not that anymore. And a lot of times I feel like people are blaming the performers for why that is, when really it's just a cultural shift, in my opinion. The culture does not rely on award shows the way that it used to. In the early 2000s and the 90s, and then even in the early 2010s, the only way people knew what you was doing is if you did promotion, if you promoted yourself. So you wanted to be at every award show, you wanted to perform at every award show, you wanted to be on every radio station, you did every interview, you did every cover of every magazine, because that's the only way people knew who you were. There was not social media. There was not social media in that way. There were obviously blog sites, websites, but that was for a niche audience, the people like me who love pop culture. For the everyday person to see you, people tuned into award shows. Award shows got millions of viewers, and that is how people knew you had a song out. People knew you were starting a new era. People knew that you were there. You wanted people to see your face. So you showed up to award shows and you tried to get awards, because back then the allure of getting VMAs was still there. You wanted to be that girl. You wanted to be that girl. You wanted to show people that you were there. And we as a culture were more of a monolithic culture. We thought all the same. It's so funny. People are why are things different? Because everything that you saw was controlled. Radio told you who had the hottest song. TV told you who was the hottest person. Magazines told you who was on top. There was not a lot of free thinking back then. You did not have access to all types of outlets to consume media. Whatever played on the radio was what was getting played on the radio. And that's why artists wanted to get played on the radio, because that's the only way people knew about you. If you were not getting played on the radio, no one knew you had a song out. If you were not at an award show performing, you were a flop. No one knew you existed. No one knew you had anything. So there was, for an artist, people craved to be on the stage. People craved to be played on radio. People wanted to be on the front covers of magazines, because that's the only way anyone knew about you. No one could know about you in any other way. You would just remain a niche little artist if you were not at award shows, if you were not doing magazine covers, if you were not on radio. But it doesn't exist in that way anymore because of social media. Because of social media, you have direct access to anything you want to have direct access for. Right now, I don't know what the #1 song in America is. Back in the day, you knew what the #1 song in America was because you heard it all the damn time. But I have no clue what the #1 song in America is. I'm sure out of probably months of the year, you probably haven't heard the number one song in America. The average American probably has not heard the number one song in America. That's just because that's just not how we take in music anymore. Like, radio does not dictate what the number one song in America is. Like, it is about people who like this person going to listen to the single, and if you have enough fans, you can basically go get you a number one single. And I don't know if there's anything wrong with that, right? Like, you do have the number one song in America. It was the most purchased song. It was the most listened to song. So you just got all your fans to go and influx and listen to your stuff, and that just is what it is. But that means that a lot of people who aren't your fans don't know you have a song. They just do not know. And that's where it is now. People kind of stay in their own thing that they're interested in. You stay in your corner and you don't really mingle with outside corners because you don't have to. You don't have to listen to radio anymore. We have aux, we have Bluetooth. You don't have to listen to radio at all. Most people do not listen to radio. So you have no clue what is going on. For example, Ed Sheeran has a song and they were saying it was this, that, and the third. Never heard it. Never heard it. I don't have to hear it because I don't have to listen to radio. So many people come out with so many songs and I just don't know they exist. I don't know some people be like, this song was number one for 7 weeks in a row, and I'm like, to who? Like, who is it number one to? But it's just not where I dwell. That is not my thing. But back in the day, everyone heard what was on the radio. Everyone heard so we hear these songs that were huge in those times because they were huge in those times. They were played everywhere because everything that you took in, everybody else took in. We all watched the same television shows. There were certain demographics of shows that everyone watched. Everyone in the 18 to 30-year-old range was watching Real World. Everyone in this range was watching Amazing Race. Everyone in this range was watching That's So Raven. Like, everyone in every single age category was watching the exact same thing. And that's why when we look back at our old self in those old times, we all had the same memories because we was all doing the same shit. But now things are different. Some people love TikTok, some people love YouTube, some people love Instagram, some people love to just watch streaming service. Maybe you like Netflix, you like Hulu, you like Apple TV, you like Paramount Plus. You all have different things that you can like watch at the exact same time. There's like, I don't like Netflix. I don't watch any Netflix shows because I think they are ass. But so when people talk about Netflix shows, in 20 years, I won't have those same experiences as them because I don't watch them shits because I have other avenues to watch things. But back in the day, I used to watch shows I didn't even like because what else was I going to do? What else was I going to do? There wasn't other media outlets to watch things. Now, what does that have to play into the VMAs? That is why people don't show up to the VMAs. There's a thing where people believe the VMAs are garbage because a lack of star power. And like, yes, the VMAs are garbage because there is a lack of star power of people showing up. But I don't think there is a lack of star power and actual celebrities. Yes, there are people who were bigger, larger than life back then, but there are so many artists now. There are so many artists who can perform, and we see that from festivals. Look at the festival lineup. You can go to any festival in America, and you're going to see some of the biggest stars in the world on those festival lists. Like, there are so many musicians all over the place. I made a list over on Twitter talking about how many stars there actually are. Just look at how many stars are in female rap. Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, like, just start there. Those are 3 huge name stars just starting. Then you can go to male rap, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, Uzi Vert, Drake, like, just go there, like, and then you can get into R&B, Ari Lennox, Jasmine, Chloe and Halle, like, Jay Aiko, like, there's so many stars. And then you can go to pop stars, Dua, Ariana, Billie, like, there are so many stars, so many. I think there are more stars and people who are well known now than there was back in the day. It's just they were larger than life back in the day because the scale was bigger. There was more people who could tune into everything that they were doing, right? But there's more stars than ever before. And I don't believe that the people I just mentioned can't put on a good show. I think if all the stars who are starring right now, who are big right now, showed up to these award shows could be excellent. If we could get the stars of today and the stars of yesterday to all come together to put on one show, to come to an award show, the award shows will actually be excellent. But like watching the VMAs, there was just a lack of performers. There was just a lack of purpose. purpose. There was literally no reason. I don't think the VMAs these days are worth the money it takes to put them on. Like, honestly, because there's just no incentive to show up to the VMAs. What is the reason to show up to the VMAs? So you can be talked about on social media, sure, but most artists don't need that. That's the thing. Most artists don't need to be talked about. Like, there are some artists who want to be talked about, and so they do these things, but most artists don't need to be talked about. They don't need to have their names in people's mouth because the music still sells. Drake just came out with an album, and in any other world, Drake, who just came out with an album, Kanye, who just came out with an album, would perform at the VMAs, but it's like, for what reason? The album has come out. The people who want to listen to it, the people who want to buy it, the people who want to be a part of it have already made that decision. Like, there's no need to show up to an award show, or you can just go put a video out and get people talking. You can do something on Instagram to get people talking. You can do something on TikTok. Like, there are just such easier ways to achieve the exact same thing, probably better than what the VMAs could do for you. And like I said, we already know the awards are rickety at this point. Like, the Grammys are holding on for dear life for relevancy, but it's like no one cares to get a VMA. Back in the day, getting a VMA meant something. Like, oh, you did that, right? Now it's just like they're giving it to whoever shows up, and who cares? But it's just like, it does not hold the same social significance as it used to. The cultural relevancy that the VMAs once had is just over, and that is just award shows. We don't see the need to see the numbers. There's gonna be an article that comes out and say the VMAs ratings were lower than they've ever been before, and it's like, of course, like, who are the people? Like, and that's the thing. Another thing, people are like, who are these people? And they're being shady, but it shouldn't be shady, because you probably don't know who a lot of these people are, because these are not your people. Like, you don't listen to Shawn Mendes, or you don't listen to Chloe, or you don't listen to Normani. Like, those aren't your people. But that doesn't negate the fact that these people do have audiences who do listen to their stuff, and they should be catered to. It's just, because we all like different things now, it's really hard to just put a show together that hits everything. Now, I do want to say, back in the day, they used to do a good job of hitting, like, everything. Like, they hit everything. You had your alternative people who got on stage, your hip hop people who got on stage, your R&B people who got on stage, your pop people. They did a good job, and that is where the creative direction of the VMAs also sucks. They need to, if you're not going to pull in huge names, then you could do a better job at just making a cultivated show, getting music from all over the place. And you know what? We're just going to get, artists that do have an audience, artists that do make good music and make just a solid show, even if it's not packed with all the stars, just putting on a quality show. And that's where I do have to put blame on the VMAs. The quality is down. Like, trying to get artists from different audiences and niches and all types of things are down. But that is why the VMAs is just not, it's past its time. And I don't think award show culture is dead. Dead in the ground, like it's over, RIP. I think award show culture could come back, because I do believe there are so many artists. Like, there are so many artists who I would love to see put on a 3-minute performance at an award show. New artists, old artists, like, there are so many. I just think the incentive for certain celebrities to show up is just simply not there. Like, what do I gain? Like, I'm doing you a favor by showing up to your award show. I really am. And it feels that way. Even watching the VMAs, remember back in the day at the VMAs, and it's crazy I'm saying back in the day, and it's just like 8 years ago, you could pan to the audience and see so many celebrities. It was a sea of celebrities. And now you pan to the audience and you just see, like, kids. You just see kids, because no one's there. Like, the only people who are there, it's like, let me show up, grab my award that I know they're gonna give me, and like, that's it. That is it. So I don't think we should blame the artist, because I don't think like there's not an incentive. There's not an incentive to show up. And the people who do show up, like, we got some decent performances. I enjoyed Doja. Of course, I enjoyed Chloe. I enjoyed Normani. Like, I enjoyed some of the performances, but it's just like, it's not this jam-packed wall-to-wall like thing. It's not an event anymore, and I miss it. As a pop culture savant, I miss the glory days of the VMAs. Like I said in my video, the VMAs used to be a literal holiday for us pop culture girlies. Like, you were ready to take in the mess, you were ready to take in the theatrics, you were ready because you did not know what was going to happen. But I feel like as the rise of social media continues to just rise and rise and rise, the celebrities of the world, certain celebrities you probably want to see on TV, their incentive to go out, their incentive to do things gets lower and lower and lower. Like, and the celebrities y'all really want to see, like, they really not gonna step out of the house. Like, but it's so funny because at the same time this is happening, places like the Oscars and the Emmys still get everybody and their mama to come out. It still gets the highest Hollywood actors to come on out to the award show. So it's not. That's why I say the music award shows could be, but there's something that they can do. I don't get paid enough to figure it out, but there's something that they could do to be better. It's just something's off. And then we also have to discuss the people who are just trying to relive their glory days and like, oh my God, the VMAs just suck and there's no stars and y'all old. Y'all, if you don't believe there are stars in the music industry, you're just old. Like, there are some people who would love to see some of the art, like some of these artists, like Dua, Billy, Ari. Like, you're just old. Like, there are some people who have humongous star power. Like, I'm so sorry. It's just not for you. It's just not for you because you old, and you have to understand that you are no longer the target demographic, boo-boo, and that is okay. But I will say there is something to say about the fact that maybe the stars could do a little bit better. I think celebrity is different. I'm riffing, but I just think celebrity culture is different. We still have the Tom Hanks and the Beyoncés of the world who like are bigger and larger than life, and everyone knows who they are. Like, but there are few of them, you know what I'm saying? There are so few of them, and there's so few people who even get to that level. Like, there's some people like Rihanna, Adele has able to ascend to that level. Like, there are newer Gaga artists who have been able to ascend to that like larger than life place, but there's so few of them because I think celebrity is just different. To get on now in these days, you have to have a big social media following, right? You have to, and you got to be everywhere all the time. That's the only way that you stay on. And some people are able to not have to do that. Newer artists that I feel like are able to not do that. Billy has been someone who has been able to evade all of that. Lord is another. That's why I said they're such big artists. Look at Lord. Like, Lord has been able to evade that. There are some artists who have been able to evade having to have a humongous social media presence. They have humongous social media presence, but not because of them. Like, they have huge followings, but they're not always everywhere on TikTok every single day. So there are some artists, but few of them aren't. And so when you see the celebrity every goddamn day, what the hell I need to tune into the VMAs to see them for? I can go on Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and see their ass all the same. So there's also that. You have to understand how celebrity culture is different. The artists that we still do get excited to see, and when a paparazzi picture comes out of them, we get excited to see them. It's the celebrities who I say we have been able to evade that sort of life, you know? So it's just a bunch of things. Culture is different. Culture is evolving in this social media age that is just getting higher and higher and higher. Things are just different. And I just think award shows are dated. Music award shows are dated. I still look forward to the Emmys and the Oscars every single year. I do. Those are now my bread and butter, especially the Emmys. I freaking love the Emmys. I am so sorry. Like, this is an Emmy stand again. I love the Emmys, and they're nasty too, and they racist as hell too, but like, I enjoy the stunts. I enjoy allowing the Emmys to make me upset, okay? Like, but so I don't know. Celebrity culture is just different. Music culture is just different. And in order to be a musician in these days and age, you have to be hyper exposed to the point of, it's like, what's the point? What's the point? I don't know. I wish I had the answers, child. I don't have the answers, but I don't think a lack of star power or a lack of effort is the reason. Like, let's not act like back in the day everybody was on stage like giving you a two-step. Like, that's revisionist history. Like, some of the girls couldn't perform either. Like, of course you always had your people who could, Beyonce, Destiny's Child, Britney, Christina. Like, you had your ones who could, like NSYNC and all of that. But then you had plenty who could not. Plenty who was on stage acting a plum fool because they could. But that was the fun. That was the fun of the VMAs. The VMAs was so you could act a damn fool and we could talk about you the next day, And so I just feel like culture is different. People, and you want to know what's crazy? I'm going to wrap this up, but people were hyper aware of their image back in the day to the point of like craziness. Like, you had to do everything right. But I feel like now people have sense. And there's just certain things people aren't going to do on the VMAs. I feel like I want to say people are more calculated now, but that's simply not true. Like, people had whole teams who calculated everything about their career, but there was a difference, and I don't know what that difference fully is. But back in the day, like, you could see something like outrageous happening. But these days, like, what is someone really gonna do on the stage that would shock you? Like, like, I feel like Miley Cyrus with We Can't Stop was really the last time something like shocking happened. And because that happened, that kind of took us out of the phase of shock value. Like, because that was like the most shocking thing that could happen. Hannah Montana is on stage doing God knows what. Like, so no, I don't know what shocking could happen. I just think, maybe its purpose has been outlived, because I be watching these award shows bored as, this is my first time watching the VMAs in years, and I was just as bored as the last time I watched the VMAs. I don't know what to tell. There's a performance here or there. The Lemonade Melody and medley in 2016 was great. Rihanna did great in 2016, but that's like, very few. Anyways, I love you guys so much. I will see you guys in the next one. If you want to see more of me, hit me up on Patreon, which is As Told by Kenya. And peace. I would love to know what your thoughts are down below. I'm willing to hear all. Usually I'm like, Kenya's right and y'all can choke, but no. I'm willing to hear, because I'm confused. Like, I'm confused. I'm bored and confused. Anyways, love you guys. Peace.